As a successful real estate broker in Charlotte, I, Emily, have attended my fair share of grand openings and networking events. They're usually the same old song and dance, schmoozing with potential clients, making small talk, and trying to drum up new business opportunities. But this particular event at the launch of the city's newest luxury apartment complex was anything but ordinary. As I circulated through the crowd, champagne flute in hand, I couldn't help but notice a young man who seemed to command the attention of everyone in the room. There was an air of confidence and charisma about him that was simply captivating. I found myself drawn to him like a moth to a flame. Mustering up my courage, I approached him and introduced myself. "Hi, I'm Emily. I don't believe we've met before." He flashed me a dazzling smile and extended his hand. "Pleasure to meet you, Emily. I'm Liam. I'm with the City Council, working on this development project." I felt a jolt of electricity as our hands touched, and suddenly, the noise of the bustling event seemed to fade into the background. We engaged in easy conversation, and I was struck by his quick wit and genuine interest in what I had to say. Before I knew it, we had been chatting for what felt like an eternity, oblivious to the world around us. As the event started to wind down, Liam suggested we continue our discussion over dinner. I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I should mix business with pleasure, but there was something about him that drew me in, and I found myself agreeing without a second thought. Over a candlelit meal at a cozy little bistro, the conversation flowed effortlessly. Liam spoke passionately about his work in local government, his vision for the city, and his hopes for the future. I, in turn, shared my own experiences in the real estate industry and my love for the vibrant community we called home. As the evening wore on, I found myself captivated not just by Liam's charm and intelligence, but by the genuine connection we seemed to be forging. There was a warmth and authenticity to our exchange that I hadn't experienced in a long time, if ever. I couldn't help but wonder where this chance encounter might lead. When Liam finally bid me goodnight, I felt a pang of disappointment, already looking forward to the next time we would meet. Little did I know that this chance meeting would be the beginning of an incredible journey, one that would test the limits of our love and challenge us in ways I could never have imagined. In the days that followed our chance encounter at the grand opening, I found myself thinking about Liam more and more. There was something captivating about him that I couldn't quite put my finger on. His charm, his intelligence, his passion for his work, it all seemed to draw me in like a moth to a flame. When Liam called a few days later and asked me out to dinner again, I eagerly accepted. As we sat across the table, sipping wine and sharing stories, I felt a connection growing between us. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and I was struck by how easy it was to open up to him. Over the course of the next several weeks, Liam and I continued to see each other, our professional relationship blossoming into a genuine friendship, and eventually, a passionate romance. We would spend hours walking the streets of Charlotte, hand in hand, lost in each other's company. During our candlelit dinners, we'd share our hopes and dreams, our fears and insecurities, and I felt a sense of intimacy and trust that I had never experienced before. Liam was a rising star in the local political scene, and I quickly learned that his charm and charisma extended far beyond our private moments. Whenever we attended local events or functions, all eyes would be on him. He had a way of captivating an audience, whether he was delivering a speech or simply working the room. I was in awe of his ability to connect with people and inspire them with his vision for the city. As our relationship deepened, I found myself becoming increasingly invested in Liam's work and the world of local politics. I would accompany him to campaign events, community meetings, and city council sessions, eager to learn more about the inner workings of government and how I could support him in his endeavors. In those moments, I felt a sense of pride and purpose, knowing that I was by the side of a man who was dedicated to making a real difference in our community. Liam's passion and commitment were truly inspiring, and I couldn't help but be drawn to the possibility of being a part of something bigger than myself. But as our love blossomed, I couldn't shake the feeling that there were forces at work beyond our control. Whispers and rumors started to circulate, casting doubt on the nature of our relationship. It seemed that Liam's political opponents were beginning to take an unsettling interest in our personal lives, and I couldn't help but wonder what they might be up to. Despite the growing unease, I refused to let the outside world interfere with the incredible connection Liam and I had forged. We were in this together, and I was determined to fight for our love, no matter the cost. As the weeks passed, Liam and I grew closer with each encounter. Our professional relationship had blossomed into a passionate romance, and I found myself falling for him more and more with each passing day. One evening, as we strolled hand in hand through the charming streets of downtown Charlotte, Liam turned to me with a warm smile. "Emily, I have to say, I've really enjoyed getting to know you these past few weeks. You're unlike anyone I've ever met before." Felt my heart skip a beat as I gazed into his captivating eyes. "Liam, the feeling is mutual. There's just something about you that I can't seem to get enough of." He chuckled softly and squeezed my hand. "Well, I'm certainly not complaining about that. In fact, I was hoping we could take this to the next level, if you're open to it." I felt a flutter of excitement in my stomach. "Are you asking me to be your girlfriend, Liam?" I asked, playfully. "That's exactly what I'm asking," he replied, his voice low and sincere. "I know things have been moving fast, but I feel like there's something special between us, and I'd love the chance to see where this could go." I didn't even need to think twice. "Then yes, Liam, I would be honored to be your girlfriend," I said, beaming up at him. Liam pulled me into a warm embrace, and I felt a sense of comfort and belonging that I hadn't experienced in a very long time. As we held each other, I knew that this was the start of something incredible. Over the following weeks and months, our relationship blossomed in ways I could never have imagined. We spent countless hours talking, laughing, and sharing our hopes and dreams for the future. Liam's passion for his work in local government was infectious, and I found myself becoming increasingly invested in the world of politics. "Really admire the way you're working to make a difference in this city, Liam," I said one evening, as we cuddled on the couch in his apartment. "It's truly inspiring." Liam smiled and gently brushed a stray lock of hair from my face. "It's all thanks to you, Emily. You've been my biggest supporter through all of this. I don't know what I'd do without you." I felt a surge of affection as I gazed into his eyes. "And I'll always be here, Liam. No matter what challenges we face, we'll face them together." As our lips met in a tender kiss, I knew that our love was only just beginning. Little did we know, however, that the road ahead would be paved with obstacles and challenges that would test the very foundation of our relationship. As Liam and I continued to grow closer, it seemed that the rest of the world was intent on tearing us apart. The whispers and rumors that had started to circulate about our relationship only seemed to intensify, and I couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. "Have you noticed how people have been looking at us lately, Liam?" I asked one evening, as we strolled through a park near his apartment. Liam let out a heavy sigh and nodded. "Yes, unfortunately I have. It seems that my political opponents are starting to take an interest in our relationship." I felt a chill run down my spine. "What do you think they're up to?" "I'm not entirely sure," Liam replied, his brow furrowed in concern. But I have a feeling they're going to try and use our love against us, somehow. I squeezed his hand tightly, suddenly feeling very vulnerable. I don't understand. Why would they want to do that? Liam stopped walking and turned to face me, his eyes full of worry. Because in their eyes, our relationship is a weakness that they can exploit. They see it as a way to undermine my credibility and influence in the community. I felt a surge of anger and indignation. That's not fair. Our love has nothing to do with your work in local government. Why should they be allowed to interfere with our personal lives? I know, Emily, and I'm so sorry you're being dragged into this, Liam said, pulling me into a tight embrace. But I promise you, I won't let them tear us apart. We're in this together, no matter what. As I held Liam close, I could feel the tension and uncertainty weighing heavily on both of us. It was as if the world had suddenly turned against us, and we were left to navigate a treacherous path forward. In the days and weeks that followed, the political pressure only seemed to intensify. Liam's opponents began to launch a relentless campaign, spreading lies and innuendos about the nature of our relationship. They accused Liam of using our love to further his own political agenda, and I found myself the target of their increasingly vicious attacks. "How dare they say these things about you?" I exclaimed, furious, as Liam and I discussed the latest barrage of accusations. "It's completely unfair and untrue." Liam nodded grimly. "I know, Emily, but unfortunately, they've managed to turn this into a full-blown political scandal. And the more they succeed in casting doubt on the integrity of our relationship, the more they undermine my standing in the community." I felt tears of frustration welling up in my eyes. So what are we going to do? We can't just sit back and let them win. Liam pulled me close, his expression one of determination. "We're going to fight, Emily. We're going to fight for our love, no matter what it takes." As I clung to him, I knew that the road ahead would be a difficult one, but with Liam by my side, I was determined to overcome any obstacle that stood in our way. As the political tensions surrounding Liam and me continued to escalate, I found myself feeling increasingly trapped and helpless. It seemed that every move we made was under the microscope, with Liam's opponents relentlessly scrutinizing our every action. "This is just getting out of hand, Liam," I said one evening, as we sat together in his apartment, the weight of the situation bearing down on us. "I can't even step out the door without being hounded by reporters or accosted by strangers on the street." Liam reached out and gently squeezed my hand, his brow furrowed with concern. "I know, Emily, and I'm so sorry you're having to go through this. It's not fair, and it's certainly not what I wanted for us." I sighed heavily, feeling the frustration and anxiety building inside me. So what are we going to do? How can we possibly fight back against this? Liam paused for a moment, his expression thoughtful. "Well, we could try to go public with our side of the story, set the record straight. Maybe that would help to counter some of the false narratives that are being pushed." I shook my head, feeling doubtful. "I don't know, Liam. Isn't that just going to give them more ammunition to use against us?" "It's a risk, I admit," Liam replied, his voice steady and reassuring. "But I think it's worth trying. We need to take control of the narrative before it completely spirals out of our hands." I bit my lip, considering his words. "And what about you, Liam? How is this affecting your work in local government?" Liam let out a heavy sigh. "To be honest, it's been a real challenge. My opponents are using this situation to try and undermine my credibility and influence. They're questioning my ability to lead, and they're making it increasingly difficult for me to get anything done." I felt a pang of guilt and concern. "Liam, I never wanted to be the cause of all this. If our relationship is putting your career at risk, then maybe we should. Liam cut me off, his expression resolute. No, Emily. I won't even entertain the idea of ending things between us. You are the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm not going to let anyone take that away. I felt a rush of emotion as I looked into his eyes, seeing the unwavering determination there. Liam, before I could finish my thought, the sound of a loud knock at the door interrupted us. Liam and I exchanged a worried glance, both of us knowing that our sanctuary had been breached once again. "Who is it?" Liam called out, his voice steady. "It's the press, Mr. Sinclair. We have some questions for you and Miss Everett," a gruff voice responded from the other side of the door. Liam and I looked at each other, both of us knowing that we were about to be thrust back into the eye of the storm. But with his hand firmly in mine, I knew that we would face whatever came next together. As the relentless pressure and scrutiny from Liam's political opponents continued to mount, I found myself feeling increasingly isolated and alone. What had once been a blossoming romance had now become a battleground, with our personal lives thrust into the harsh glare of the public spotlight. Liam and I did our best to stand united, determined to weather the storm together. But the constant barrage of accusations and suspicions took a heavy toll, and I could see the strain it was putting on him both personally and professionally. "I don't know how much more of this I can take, Liam," I confessed one evening, as we sat together in his apartment, the weight of the world seemingly bearing down on us. "It feels like we're fighting a losing battle." Liam reached out and grasped my hands, his expression one of deep concern. "Emily, I promise you we're going to get through this. I won't let them tear us apart." I shook my head, feeling the tears welling up in my eyes. But what if we don't have a choice? What if the pressure becomes too much, and we end up on opposite sides of this whole mess? Liam's grip on my hands tightened, his brow furrowed with determination. "That's not going to happen, Emily. I won't let it." "But Liam, look at what's happening," I cried, gesturing around us. "Your political opponents are using our relationship against you, and it's starting to affect your ability to do your job. How can we possibly keep fighting when the cost is so high?" Liam's expression softened, and he pulled me into a gentle embrace. "I know, Emily. I know it's not easy, and I wish I could shield you from all of this, but I need you to trust me, okay? Not going to give up on us, no matter what." I clung to him, feeling the desperation and uncertainty swirling around us. "I want to believe you, Liam. I really do. But I'm starting to wonder if we're in over our heads here." Liam pulled back, his eyes searching mine. "Emily, do you want to end this? Is that what you're saying?" The words caught in my throat, and I felt my heart constrict with a mixture of fear and sorrow. "I don't know, Liam. I don't know what to do anymore." As the silence stretched between us, I could feel the distance growing, like a chasm that threatened to swallow us whole. Liam's expression hardened, and I knew in that moment that we were both teetering on the edge of a precipice, unsure of where to turn. In the end, it was the roar of the outside world, the constant barrage of reporters and political pundits, that drove us apart. Liam and I found ourselves on opposite sides of the barricades, our once unbreakable bond tested to its limits. I had never felt more alone, more adrift, than I did in that moment. But even as the darkness threatened to consume me, a glimmer of hope remained, a small flickering flame that told me that all was not yet lost. The days that followed our confrontation were among the darkest I had ever experienced. Liam and I found ourselves pulled in different directions, our once unbreakable bond strained to the point of breaking. I would lie awake at night, my mind racing with thoughts of what might have been. How could we have let this happen? Where had we gone wrong? One evening, as I sat alone in my apartment, there was a tentative knock at the door. My heart pounding, I cautiously peeked through the peephole, only to find Liam standing on the other side, his expression solemn. "Liam," I breathed, my voice barely above a whisper as I opened the door. "What are you doing here?" He met my gaze, his eyes filled with a mixture of relief and trepidation. "Emily, I needed to see you. I couldn't stand the thought of us staying apart any longer." I felt a lump form in my throat as I ushered him inside, closing the door behind him. "Liam, I don't know what to say. Things have been so difficult, and He reached out and gently took my hands in his touch sending a familiar spark through my body. "Emily, I know. Believe me, I know, but I can't give up on us. I won't." I felt the tears welling up in my eyes, and I squeezed his hands tightly. "Liam, I want to believe you, but I'm so scared. What if we can't overcome this?" Liam's brow furrowed with determination. "We have to try, Emily. I refuse to let them win. Refuse to let them take you away from me." I searched his face, finding the same unwavering resolve that had drawn me to him in the first place. "But Liam, what about your work, your career? I can't be the one who holds you back." He shook his head emphatically. "You're not holding me back, Emily. You're the one thing that keeps me going, the one thing that gives me the strength to keep fighting." I felt a glimmer of hope flicker within me, and I reached up to caress his cheek. "Liam, Emily, please," he interrupted, his voice tinged with desperation. "I need you. I need us to be together, no matter what it takes." As our eyes met, I could see the depth of his sincerity, the unwavering love that burned within him. In that moment, I knew that I could never give up on him, on us. "Then, let's do it, Liam," I said, my voice filled with newfound determination. "Let's fight for our love, no matter what obstacles stand in our way." Liam pulled me into a fierce embrace, and I felt the tension and uncertainty begin to melt away. We might not have known what the future held, but in that moment, I knew that as long as we had each other, we could overcome anything. With our hands intertwined and our hearts united, Liam and I set out to reclaim our relationship, determined to prove that the power of love could triumph over even the most formidable of foes. As Liam and I embarked on our mission to reclaim our relationship, I knew that the road ahead would be long and arduous. The relentless attacks from his political opponents had taken a heavy toll, and the public scrutiny was starting to feel overwhelming. But with Liam by my side, I felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. We were in this together, and I knew that as long as we stood united, nothing could tear us apart. "Are you sure you're ready for this, Emily?" Liam asked one evening, his expression filled with concern. "I don't want you to feel like you have to put yourself through any more of this." I reached out and took his hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. "Liam, I'm in this for the long haul. Whatever it takes, I'm not going to let them win." He smiled and pulled me close, his embrace warm and comforting. "Then let's show them what we're made of." And that's exactly what we did. Over the next few weeks, Liam and I embarked on a campaign of our own, taking our story directly to the people. We granted exclusive interviews, shared our personal journey, and challenged the false narratives that had been perpetuated by his opponents. It was a battle of wills, a test of our love and resilience. But with each passing day, I could feel the tide beginning to turn. The community rallied around us, inspired by our unwavering commitment to one another. "I can't believe this is happening," I said one night, as Liam and I sat together, Watching the news coverage of our story, it's like a dream come true. Liam squeezed my hand, his eyes shining with pride. It's all thanks to you, Emily. You've been my rock through all of this, and I couldn't have done it without you. I felt a surge of emotion as I gazed into his eyes, my heart overflowing with love and gratitude. Liam, I paused, searching for the right words. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I want to spend the rest of my life by your side. Liam's expression softened, and he leaned in, pressing his lips against mine in a tender kiss. Then, that's exactly what we'll do, Emily. Together, we'll build a future that's ours, no matter what obstacles stand in our way. As we held each other close, I knew that our love had triumphed over the darkness. We had faced the storm, and we had emerged stronger than ever before. But in the end, the real victory wasn't just about our relationship. It was about the power of love to conquer all. Liam and I had proven that true love could withstand even the greatest of challenges, and that was a lesson worth sharing with the world. So, what do you think the future holds for Liam and Emily? Will their love continue to flourish, or will they face more obstacles in their path? Subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories like this one.